Reform UK's manifesto, which it's calling a contract with the people, is launched on Monday in the Welsh Valleys, as it happens. Some of the party's pledges have already been announced, such as a freeze on non-essential, whatever that means, migration, and an increase in the income tax personal allowance to £20,000. Now, yesterday, the upstart right-wing party even overtook the Tory party in the polls, which Nigel Farage, its new leader, was quick to announce during ITV's election debate last night. So the party is increasingly and rapidly becoming a bigger deal, but what more can we expect from it on Monday? With me now is Rupert Lowe, Reform UK Parliamentary Candidate and the party's spokesman for business and agriculture. Rupert, welcome. Does Reform have any more tricks up its sleeve on Monday?
We've got a lot, Christopher. I think our manifesto, well, we don't call it a manifesto, we call it a contract with the people, because most of the big parties, they don't take their manifestos seriously. As you know, every 5 years, the voters have a little bit of power, and they make these ridiculous promises in their manifesto, which they then continually break. So no, ours is a contract with the people, and ours is for real. And when I showed it to Simon Heffer, when I spoke at a lunch, he described it as Thatcherite in construct. So I'm very proud of that. I played a part in the business, the agriculture and the fisheries policy, the draft policy. And quite rightly, obviously, when he came back, Nigel Farage wanted to cast his eye over it. So I think we're going to see a very comprehensive contract with the people, which will, I think, bring common sense to bear. It's designed to reward those people who work. It's hopefully going to address the fact that since 2000, our national debt has risen from 564 billion to 2.77 trillion.
Yeah.
Which I think we're now in a national crisis, Christopher. So what we have to do is unleash the British people, the individual, and we have to shrink the state, because it's the state that is our problem. It's not all this nonsense that we hear about, tax evaders and everything else. We're all taxed into oblivion. And ultimately, it's this state. And I saw a wonderful picture the other day of a very thin little taxpayer riding a bicycle at the front and a great fat, bloated state on the back, having a free ride, eating a very large McDonald's hamburger. I thought that sort of almost summed it up.
Well, it's got
I'm quite clear. We're going to do things that are common sense, that are fair, that are going to empower people. And I'm very proud to have played a part in trying to ensure that, we do that.
The idea of reducing the size of the stake is something which the Tory party certainly understand post-COVID. They want to try and bring back the civil service to where it was pre-2019, and also the case, I think, with other elements such as benefits, money going to benefit cheats. One question, Rupert, just you and me talking. ECHR, will the party commit to wanting to leave it?
Well, Christopher, I'm quite clear on this, and I've spoken about it. I spoke about it on Tuesday when I was in my Norfolk constituency, which Nigel visited, which I'm not allowed to mention for electoral reasons. And I'm quite clear. And a lot of this rot, in fact, most of this rot started with the Labour Party under Blair, Brown, Campbell and Mandelson, who I call the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And buried within the Human Rights Act of 1998, as you probably know, is the ECHR. So what Boris failed to do when we handed him an 80-seat majority was to actually repeal these venal acts like the Human Rights Act, like the Equality Act, all the sort of things. And we'll forget about Gordon Brown selling all our gold. That's another thing they did. So it's actually Labour started the rot.
Yes, Rupert.
And unfortunately, the Tories didn't reverse that.
Okay. So, but I'm interested in your party. Will you try and reverse it? Is the question to you, and you're not answering.
Well, I think in reality, what we've got to do, Christopher, is we've got, and by the way, what's happening in the constituencies, I don't think Westminster has any idea what's going on the ground. I'm on the ground quite a lot, as you'd imagine. And, people are saying enough is enough. They've had enough of this deficient government we've got in Westminster. The bloated civil service is not delivering. The unbalanced budgets that we've got. Yeah. So what they're doing is this is a once in 100-year occasion when I think the universe flips through, 180 degrees, and we actually see a major change. So I'm confident that we will poll far more than the current polls are showing.
Where? So where?
Because I
Where?
think people want change, and the only way they're going to get change, Christopher, is to elect some reform MPs, build a bridgehead in Parliament, and now, as Nigel said today, a vote for the Tories is a vote for Labour. Because what we need to do is we need to build a sensible opposition to Labour. Because Labour, look at Labour. I mean, where's David Lammy? The guy who makes all the noise and talks complete rubbish. I mean, he's been kept very quiet, but they're still there, festering away in the background. As I've just said, most of the problems we've got stem from the Tony Blair era. And Keir Starmer and his merry band.
I've got to go. I've got one last question for you. Quick yes or no answer, an easy one. Should Nigel Farage do a deal with Rishi Sunak and fight on a ticket to oppose Labour at the election?
No. Nigel stood down in 2019 and gifted the Tories an 80-seat majority. And I asked them, what did they achieve with it? And do you know what?
Nothing.
We haven't got Brexit. They haven't reversed all the rules that have been forced upon us. And they've delivered, as I call it, absolute diddly squat. ADS, that's what they've delivered.
ADS. Well, we'll hear more. We'll hear less ADS and more policies, I'm sure, on Monday.
We need more action and less ADS. Yeah.
In the Welsh Valleys. Rupert Lowe, thank you for joining us tonight on GB News.